What's good, guys? Welcome to 6 Best Bets, including my lock of the week, including a bonus. It's almost Halloween, guys. Make what you want. Hopefully, you guys have a safe Halloween. Hopefully, it's fun. And I want to mention that we are on a 5-fight lock of the week streak. That's right. The bonus streak, okay, so the over 2.5 hit for LOTW versus Max Holloway, but the over 3.5 did not hit. So, one out of the 2 bonuses hit. My lock of the week hit. We are on a 5-fight lock of the week streak. That being Brian Battle, Roman Dolidze, Ramazan Tamirov, Charles Johnson, and Lerone Murphy. Out of all those 5 lock of the weeks, Charles Johnson and Lerone Murphy have scared the crap out of me. Lerone Murphy gets dropped in the first round against Dan Ige, and Charles Johnson looks a little weird against Sumadarji. All that being said, we are still on a 5-fight lock of the week streak. I'm going to try to continue this lock of the week streak to 6. So bear with me if the lock of the week is a little bit different or a little unexpected. I know you guys are going to like my bonuses as well. So without further ado, let's get into my first most confident pick of the week. I hope you guys have a good Halloween. Hope you guys stay safe. And I hope you guys get a lot of candy. Let me know your favorite candy in the comment section below. Let me know if you like chocolate, if you're a sour guy, if you're an Almond Joy guy, because I like Almond Joy. I like Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Let me know your favorite candy down below. UFC Edmonton, which takes place in Canada. Moreno versus Albazi. 5-round main event. 5-round co-main event. Let's get into it. Without further ado, my first most confident pick of the week. Youssef Zalal. The reason why my first most confident pick of the week is Youssef Zalal is because he is facing off against Jack Shore. Jack Shore is an opponent who just recently lost to Joe Anderson Brito, but we also know Jack Shore is tough as nails. So this is a little bit of the least confident pick, but as we get on, it gets more and more confident. Minus 290 for Youssef Zalal. The props aren't out yet, but Youssef Zalal inside the distance is a great look. Youssef Zalal by submission. We know that he's in a new regimen. This is Youssef Zalal 2.0, and we know that Youssef Zalal is more of a lot, if not a lot better fighter than Jack Shore. Especially a guy who's been in the UFC, fought the toughest of the tough, the former champ, the champion of the world, Ilia Topuria, went to the distance with him, considering everybody's getting knocked out in this guy Ilia Topuria's path. Got cut from the UFC, comes back to the UFC, new regimen, looks like a completely different animal, and now is settling in the UFC the way he was supposed to the first time. I think him at a minus 290 is parlayable, but if you want to look for some good props, maybe you could do Youssef Zalal by submission or on points, or Youssef Zalal inside the distance, or Youssef Zalal by K or on points. I think it wouldn't be surprising if he's able to finish Jack Shore inside the distance. We know a guy like Youssef Zalal has very good inside trips. Landed against Billy Quartillo, and we know it's called Youssef Zalal lands a lovely Osorogari on Billy Quartillo, and we don't see this every day. So he throws the knee. As he throws the knee, he lands a nice, beautiful takedown. And we know he can definitely hit Jack Shore with that. Not only can he hit Jack Shore with that, but this is something that you don't see every day. So if you see a guy throwing tricks like this, you know this guy is in the UFC for a long time. Right here, this is when he got cut from the UFC. He was able to get a finish. Youssef Zalal picks up his second straight TKO win since being released from the UFC. So he had to put the division on notice. He had to put the UFC on notice and be like, I'm ready to go back into the UFC. We know that maybe that opponent wasn't the best, but we know that this guy has very good knees up the middle, very good striking, very good body shots, and when the finish is there, this guy can definitely capitalize on a finish. I think he's definitely going to win this Saturday, and give me him at a minus 290 money line to win this Saturday as my first most confident pick of the week. My second most confident pick of the week, guys. Let's get it. Sari City, however you want to pronounce it, 10-2-0. He's set to face off with his opponent. He has a little bit of a tricky matchup in his hands, considering he's fighting Garrett Armfield. But this is going to be a very good fight because City is a minus 162 and Garrett Armfield's a plus 126. I figured that I had to put this guy in here. I was thinking of whether I should put this guy as my lock of the week, but as it got on, I was like, this guy's a little chinny. We don't know how he fights. I gotta sneeze, but I can't sneeze. All right. I had to sneeze, but I couldn't. But this guy has been dropped before. You know, he had a little bit of a questionable fight with Roman Tavares. maybe you could give it to him. It was a very close fight. Tends to make fights a little bit closer than they need to be. But I like this guy's training. He's also been training with Tim Welch as well. Right here, we see that he was training with Tim Welch, who coaches Sugar Sean. Make what you want with that information. But I like to see training videos on their Instagram. I like to see where he's at, how he fights in the pocket, if his striking is sharp enough to strike for 15 minutes with a guy like Garrett Armfield. We know Garrett Armfield's going to try to shoot for a takedown. And Garrett Armfield has power. He dropped Brady Haystand in his last fight, and then he got put into a submission. But we know a guy like Garrett Armfield is a guy who's tough as nails, who's going to grapple his way to a win. Or he might try to strike with you and then mix it up. I know a guy like Garrett Armfield's a tough fight, a tough opponent for City, but I think City should be able to beat him. In Dana White Contender Series, this is before they had a rematch. Roman Tavares versus City. City's able to get a finish inside the first round, but one thing we have to mention was this was a little bit of an early stoppage. Let me know what you guys think. Is this an early stoppage or not? So he drops him, but he's still awake. He's not completely concussed. Make what you want with that information. He was still able to get a first round, and he was still able to drop him. But one thing I think is that this stoppage was a little early. But we know that he has deceiving power, and he could definitely drop anybody at any time. Roman Tavares fights the ref, and he's like, no, that was way too early, but he was still able to get the finish. We know a guy like City tends to put himself in wars more often than usual, and he can be long, but he tends to get touched up a little too much. He doesn't move his head a lot, but he has very good accuracy. His accuracy is probably one of his best arsenals in his entire weapon. The way he just can tee off on you and can put you out. A guy like City can definitely put a guy like Garrett Armfield out. There's going to be a tough fight on his hands. At a minus 162, I think it's very good. And I think a guy like City should be able to win this fight. I just don't like how he doesn't move his head. That's one of the main reasons why this guy's not my lock of the week. He has very good body shots, and when he senses the finish, he's very good at capitalizing off of it and cementing his win. I think he should be able to win this weekend. He's going to fight, and he's going to fight for your money. I just spoiled my third most confident pick of the week, but my third most confident pick of the week, guys, you guys already saw it. This was actually going to be my lock of the week as well. I was scrambling all over the place whether this should be my lock of the week or not. Jasudavicius, my third most confident pick of the week, 11-3-0, set to face off against Ariane Lipski. And the reason why I like this girl is because it's more on the Ariane Lipski side. She's a plus 164. Jasmine is minus 215. Will this fight go the distance? Yes, at a minus 235. That's obvious. I think we all consider that this fight might go the distance. But if we want more juice, let's say we go method of victory. Jasudavicius by points. It's a plus 105. She has a very, very tricky fight on her hands considering Ariane Lipski has more of a higher finish rate than Jasudavicius. And Jasudavicius is known to, put up a boring fight, grapple, and then a lot of people don't like her because of her performances that she has when she's expected to have a better performance. A lot of people were giving her hate on her Instagram, saying that she had a full camp and she wasn't able to finish her opponent. But that's how she is. She's not really known to finish her opponent. Right here,
camp's been going awesome.
She talks about her camp.
Can't say enough good things. I'm excited.
Somebody said that she talks like Forrest Gump.
Fighting in Edmonton.
I thought that was pretty.
I've never been to Edmonton before, so looking forward to checking it out. I hear good things. I have all my team here. Prior
trains grappling.
I was out in Ireland,
trains her get-up game.
And it's been very nice.
Securing the single leg.
I get to go out there and
nice high
train
kick
with them and learn from them, and then come back here and kind of like focus in and dial in. The only thing that is in my head is like getting ready for this next opponent.
Which is good. It's good. She has very good takedowns as well. Very good cardio. And I think she should be able to win this Saturday against Ariane Lipski. We do know, though, when we see her Instagram, she said, suck it to the crowd. And a lot of people in her comment section were saying barely won on a fight she had a full camp with against an opponent who made sure you got a paycheck. And also took a fight on a week or so notice and above her natural weight class. What exactly are you flexing? You're barely ranked 15. So this guy's a little bit of a hater. Maybe he had money on her to finish Klein, But I think that it was still a decent performance. Showed that she had pretty good ground game, but she's not confident enough for me to pick her as my lock of the week. She's my third most confident pick of the week. I think she should be able to beat a girl like Ariane Lipski. And if she's not able to beat a girl like Ariane Lipski, it's because she gets finished. Because a girl like Ariane Lipski has very good submissions off her back, and she could maybe get a little tricky submission off her back. I think it's not likely, but a girl like Jasudavicius should be able to win this fight in notable fashion. 30-27 in my opinion. Jasudavicius by points, specifically method of victory by points at a plus 105. I think it's very good. And she also trains with Mike Malott. Right here, she's trained in the same gym as Mike Malott, so I think this is going to be a very good night for Canada. We know, though, that Canada has not always had a good night. My fourth most confident pick of the week, guys, uses the law, City, Jasudavicius, my fourth most confident pick of the week. Aiemann Zahabi. Aiemann Zahabi is 11-2-0. He's set to face off against Pedro Munhoz, who's a minus 108. And as we look at it now, Aiemann Zahabi was a minus 1. He's a minus 118 now, and Pedro Munhoz is a minus 108. But that was not always the case. I got Aiemann Zahabi at a plus 100, and Pedro Munhoz was the favorite at a minus 125. I don't know what these bookies were thinking, putting Pedro Munhoz, a guy who's a journeyman, at a favorite. This guy sucks. I wanted to put Aiemann Zahabi as my lock of the week, but you know when we're playing this game where a guy like Pedro Munhoz tends to make fights way more competitive than they need to be and a little bit more closer than they need to be, and a guy like Pedro Munhoz can take a hit and give a hit, and when it comes to scoring, a guy like Pedro Munhoz is a perfect guy for the judges because this guy does everything that you need him to do. He kicks, has very good leg kicks, very good fundamental striking, and plots forward and lands his strikes. A guy like Aiemann Zahabi is a guy who's going to be on the back foot, trying to land his right hand, trying to be the counter striker, and trying to be the point striker. I think a guy like Aiemann Zahabi is free money, and this is probably one of my most confident picks of the week. At a minus 118, the fact that he's a favorite, the bookie's fucked up. The bookie's fucked up giving me as a dog. If you give me Aiemann Zahabi as a dog, you already fucked up. The bookie's fucked up. But we know that Pedro Munhoz is very good, but in my opinion, I think Pedro Munhoz is on a skid, and I think he's going to get cut from the UFC very soon, if not next year. But a guy like Pedro Munhoz is very entertaining. I just think a guy like Pedro Munhoz is a guy who is not on the top echelon division or in the top. He's not a guy, he's a shell of his former self, and he tends to go to decision a lot, so I like Aiemann Zahabi to win this fight by decision. Method of victory, Aiemann Zahabi by points at a plus 120, but why take that when we could take money line? Because we know a guy like Aiemann Zahabi is known to get some KOs. He got a KO over Arichi Lang, I believe this was. We know Arichi Lang tends to get finished, so make what you want with this, but he was still able to get a KO, and he was still able to show his knockout power. A guy like Ariel Helwani should be able to win this Saturday. If he struggles with Pedro Munhoz, it's because of the volume factor, and Pedro Munhoz has way too much volume and output, and his leg kicks are doing damage to Aiemann Zahabi. But it seems like the bookies expect this fight to be a little bit more competitive than a lot of us do. I think a lot of us expect Aiemann Zahabi to win in dominant fashion, but it seems like the bookies seem like this could be anybody's match, and it could be a very close fight, and it could go to split decision, so be careful with this, but I think moneyline is the best, and I also like the way he looked in this. It's the same knockout, but it's just a different view, and it shows the perspective of how he was able to get this finish. He has very good distance management, and not only does he have good distance management, he was able to grab the leg, and as he grabs the leg, he was able to get him, hurt him, and finish him. I think this was one of his best finishes, and it let me know that this guy is on the route to becoming one of the top contenders in the UFC. I know a lot of people don't like Aiemann Zahabi, but the fact that he was able to fraud check Javid Basharat, very good win. So give me Aiemann Zahabi to win this Saturday and beat Pedro Munhoz at a minus 118. My fourth most confident pick, I already gave you guys 4 picks. My fifth most confident pick of the week, my actual lock of the week. I was looking all over. In another dimension, in another universe, Aiemann Zahabi is my lock of the week. But in this universe, in this multiverse, in this dimension, Mike Malott's my lock of the week. I know a lot of you guys aren't going to like this. Mike Malott is a minus 280 versus Trevin, who's a plus 210. And we know a guy who quits at the smallest change of adversity. Might not be one of the most confident picks, and it might be a little bit of a sketchy pick, and you might not want to put all your money on this guy. But I'm here to convince you why this guy's my lock of the week. First, let's figure out why we have Mike Malott as a discount. 30 seconds left, 37 seconds to be exact, of the third round that he completely dominated Neil Magny in. He gets put in a bad position where he's able to just take punches consistently. And a guy like Mike Malott, if he's put in this position against Trevin Giles, he's most likely going to quit. A guy like Neil Magny showed that he had the tougher experience, and he was able to get this win over a guy like Mike Malott. But we know Mike Malott is very early in his UFC career. A lot of people are harsh on him because of this loss and who loses to Neil Magny. You know, what are you? Are you a quitter? But I think he needed this loss in order for him to get better. I think this was one of the best ways for his career to take a new pivot or a new turn. Losing to a guy like Neil Magny in this fashion where you're dominating him for 13 and a half minutes or 14 and a half minutes, and the last 30 seconds you get completely obliterated, shows him that he has to be A-game all 15 minutes. I bet you he's worked on his cardio since then, and he's worked on escaping these positions since then. I've been seeing his Instagram, and the fact that he was able to survive a little bit of an onslaught of Neil Magny, we know that he quit, but we know that this can either make you or break you. This is either going to make him or break him. So he's either going to be on a good streak since this loss, or he's either going to fall off hard. I know a lot of people are disappointed in this win, but we have to remember what Mike Malott has done in this career. At such an early age, this guy Mike Malott KO'd Mickey Gall. And I know Mickey Gall is a guy who's not that good, but he beat Mike Perry. And, you know, Mickey Gall will never be that guy. But we know Mike Malott has deceiving power. He has very good power. And I know a lot of people are not going to be confident on Mike Malott. But if you want to go double chance, Mike Malott by KO or submission, it's a -140. And I know this guy's a very good finisher. We see him finish his opponent right here. And he was able to drop his opponent and then get the guillotine. We could see a little bit of a situation where we get a club and sub where Trevin Giles gets hurt. He's hurt, but we have to mention Trevin Giles has faced guys like DDP. He's faced the toughest competition since he's been in the UFC. So, in my opinion, this is a perfect matchup, but I can definitely see a position where Mike Malott hurts Trevin Giles, puts him in a position where he hurts him, and he gets a nice club and sub. We know Mike Malott has been training very much. He's been training a lot since his loss to Neil Magny. And I think he's learned since his loss to Neil Magny. And like I said, he needed that loss in order for him to get better. He has a very, very good guillotine choke. His squeeze is one of his best squeezes in all of UFC. And I think he should be able to beat Trevin Giles this week. He's a -280. He's parlayable. But if you want to go safe, let's say we want to go safe, will this fight go the distance? No, at a -280. You could just do that. I don't think this fight's going to go the distance. If you don't like the lock of the week, that's fine. But if you want to go safe, you could go Mike Malott by submission or on points, +105. Mike Malott by KO or on points, +120. Sprinkle either side. Or you could use him as a parlay. I think he's in very good shape to win this Saturday. My 6th most confident pick of the week, I actually just leaked it by accident. I didn't mean to click that. And we know Mike Malott just recently got married too, so congratulations, bro. Congratulations, bro. She's hot. All right, my 6th most confident pick of the week. I gave you guys Youssef Zalal, City, Jasudavicius, Aiemann Zahabi, Mike Malott. My 6th most confident pick of the week. You guys already saw it. Do I have to build up the anticipation a little bit more? Jonathan Denise, he's one of my favorite fighters to watch. We know we were watching him yesterday, and it was a funny-ass fight. Him versus Carl Williams. This guy's just looking at Carl Williams, and he's just staring at him. And he has some of the lowest volume output, but we know he's facing off against Derek Lewis, who has an even lower output in the heavyweight division. Derek Lewis is a +136. Jonathan Denise is -174. I recommend take money line on either side, but if you want to go method, like let's say we go method of victory, Jonathan Denise by KO, it's a -110. If you like Derek Lewis by KO at a +210. In another world, I put Derek Lewis as my lock of the week, but not in this world. I think Jonathan Denise is very good, and I think his win over Austin Lane is very good. We know Austin Lane was able to beat Robelis Spain, and he was able to grapple him for 15 minutes, and Spain got cut from the UFC because of his loss to Austin Lane. Austin Lane showed up a pretty good performance in the first round, wrestling Jonathan Denise, showing the lack of wrestling defense on Jonathan Denise's side, controlled him for a whole round. But then Jonathan Denise got eager and showed that he's not a guy like Robelis Spain. He's going to try to finish you in all of his might, in all of his fashion. He was able to land as soon as he hits on your chin, bro. A guy like Austin Lane, who's huge, goes down like a tree. You know, they say in the forest, when you're in the forest alone at night, you can hear a tree fall. Like timber. So that's what this guy said. Timber. You can hear a tree fall from the forest, from deep in the forest. It's a mystery, and you can hear it. And Austin Lane falls, and you can hear that from a mile away. So I think, as much as I like Derek Lewis, I would gladly lose this confident pick for Derek Lewis to win by knockout and take off his pants and say my balls was hot. But I'm going to go Jonathan Denise, and I'm going to go Jonathan Denise to win by KO. If you want to take moneyline is the best option. But I think this is a very good pick. And I think when we look at how they match up, 39 years old, 33 years old, 6'3" to 6'4", 265 to 255. Jonathan Denise should be a little bit faster, a little bit more bouncy on his toes. 79.5. He has a reach advantage by a little bit slight. Leg reach 43.5. This is very interesting, the leg reach, because Derek Lewis has longer legs than Jonathan Denise. He should be slamming leg kicks. But we know Jonathan Denise is the guy who's going to be slamming leg kicks. 86% finish rate for Derek Lewis. 88% finish rate for Jonathan Denise. But Jonathan Denise is very early in his career and he's undefeated. So the fact that Derek Lewis is only 2% lower than a guy like Jonathan Denise, you know somebody's going to get knocked out. And this fight to not go the distance is a minus 650. Wow. If you want to take the over, I bet you the over is a 1.5. If you want to play games, over 1.5, under 1.5, I don't want to get fancy with it. Give me Jonathan Denise to win this fight. And when we look at his training, he looks like he's training very good. Right here, he's rolling. He's doing a lot of athleticism, a lot of athletic movement, a lot of explosive workouts, a lot of takedown routines, a lot of get-up game, a lot of swinging on the bag, a lot of fundamental differential workouts. And I think a guy like Jonathan Denise, who's training in this gym, should be in very good fashion to win this Saturday and knock out Derek Lewis. The factors and the worst case scenarios are if Derek Lewis just lands that one punch uppercut from hell, or if he just lands a big strike. He could put Jonathan Denise out and put him out for good. And remember, guys, I have the bonus. So I gave you guys everything. Let's do a quick recap. Youssef Zalal to win his fight. Money line, we know he's parlayable. City to win his fight. Money line against Garrett Armfield. In my opinion, it's going to be a great scrap in this one of my most anticipated fights. Jasudavicius to win her fight against Ariane Lipski. Very close competitive fight. Most likely goes the distance. Aiemann Zahabi to win his fight against Pedro Munhoz. Another very close competitive fight that might go the distance as well. It's favored to go the distance. Mike Malott, lock of the week to win this Saturday. I'm on a 5-fight lock of the week streak, so I got to play it a little bit more safer. But we know a guy like Mike Malott, a lot of people don't like him, so I figured I'd put him in this position where we could put him and use him as a parlay. I know a lot of people aren't going to be that confident in him, but I'm confident in him. A guy who's 10-2 facing a guy in Trevin Giles. It should be a good matchup, but we know that you can never put all of your... You don't want to put all of your earnings into that. But we know a guy like Mike Malott should be able to win this fight in very good fashion. Mike Malott, my fifth pick, and then my sixth pick, Jonathan Denise. So those are my 6 most confident picks of the week. And then I got you with my bonus, guys. What's going to be the bonus? Rose Namajunas, over 2.5. When we look at this fight, I think this fight's most likely going to go the distance. But we have to play this game. We know that the bonuses, if you're a fan of this series, you know that the bonuses is either an over or an under. When I look at the over 2.5 for the Rose Namajunas versus Erin Blanchfield, I think it should be good. Worst case scenario is Erin Blanchfield's able to submit a girl like Rose Namajunas, but the over 2.5 is a -4, is a -580. I think it's very good to have it at the end of your parlay. I know if you can, split a couple of parlays here and then put over 2.5 for the co-main and the main event, Brandon Moreno versus Amir Albazi, I think it's a very good pick. So the over 2.5 at a -580, and then Brandon Moreno versus Amir Albazi, the over 2.5 as well. Over 2.5 is at a -425. So let's say we put the over 2.5 for Brandon Moreno, over 2.5 for Erin Blanchfield. We put Jonathan Denise, and then we put a guy like Mike Malott. We put all 4 of them. You already have plus money, and it turns your leg into a +198. So if we put over 2.5, Erin Blanchfield, -580. Over 2.5 for Amir Albazi, -425. Jonathan Denise and Mike Malott at a -275. You get a +198 slip, and I think it's pretty good. And also, guys, you guys don't always have to do that. You guys can always do stuff like this. You guys can split it. Let's say we put City. I'm trying to help you guys. Let's say we put Youssef Zalal We put a guy City, and then we put Zahabi. 3 legs, you get a plus 304. So you actually get more money on doing Uses of Law, City, and Zahabi. And then if you want to put one of the over 2.5s of the co-main or the main event. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys like the over. Let me know if you guys think the bonus hits. And let me know if you guys like this video. It's a little bit hotter in my room, so I was trying to get this room to be a little bit cooler, but it's hot as fuck. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys like this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. And I'm out. Peace. Let's get it. Come on, Lock of the Week. Let's get it.